What's going on, NBA fanatics? This is your friendly neighborhood Memphis Grizzlies, home of Memphis X, and I talk hoops. Today, we are talking about the Chicago Bulls' Zach Lavine being available in trade talks. But first, every hero needs their theme music.
KeyAno.
Grizz gang, go hard. Baddest in the game, we be on one. I talk hoops so secure. All up on the court, but we gon' score. Memphis bringing heat straight from Tennessee. Demarest back and let's go, boy. He that MVP.
So we are exactly one more sleep away from draft day. The 2023 NBA draft is right around the corner. And I'm going to tell you guys, I know I promised that I was going to have that mock draft up, but it will be up either later on tonight or early in the morning, because I think there's going to be a lot of movement today, or some movement today with the picks and some more, I guess you would say, info about where guys are going to be drafted. So what we're talking about today is Zach Lavine. Now, as soon as this season was over with and we knew that Dillon Brooks was not going to come back, Zach Lavine was my number one small forward target for the Memphis Grizzlies. And I know it's counterintuitive to what most people think the Grizzlies need, such as an OG Anunoby or another guy that's, to replace Dillon's defensive efforts. But the problem with the Grizzlies was not defense. The problem with the Grizzlies is half-court offense. And I targeted Zach Lavine as the solution to that problem. Zach Lavine, as you can see right here on the screen, has been a 20-point-per-game scorer for the last 5 seasons. He is an elite offensive player. Zach Lavine has one of the best pull-up games. He's a very explosive scorer. He's hella athletic. And, of course, he's been consistent with his scoring efforts through even on these bad Chicago teams. Now, the case is there's going to be a lot of people who have a case against Zach Lavine. And the biggest thing people are going to say is 2 things. 1, his contract. 2, his defense. First, let's tackle the first one. And I'm going to put his contract information up here on the board, on the screen, so you can see exactly how much he's going to be making. Now, Zach Lavine is currently just completed his 27-year-old season in the NBA. He is relatively young. The only issue is he's had some knee issues in the past, and that might give some people some pause, especially after the Chandler Parsons debacle we had in Memphis. But the difference is Zach Lavine is just a much, much better player. Now, when it comes to the Grizzlies and their offensive execution, the problem that they have in the half court is they do not have enough players that can get their shots off against close quarter defense. Now, of course, John Morant is a maestro. Desmond Bane is real good, as he's proven in these last couple of playoffs. He can get his. But after you get past those 2, you're stuck to relying on Jaren Jackson, who has a lot on his plate defensively with this team. And you have other guys, and that led us to try to depend on Dillon Brooks and even Luke Kennard last season. And, even though it worked a little bit, it was successful with Luke Kennard, I think it can have even more success, because as the Grizzlies get deeper and deeper into the playoffs, the defenders are going to get bigger, more athletic, and more disciplined. And that's going to be an environment where the guys that we have currently, John Morant, Desmond Bane, Luke Kennard, and even to an extent Jaren Jackson, are going to struggle at times against close quarter defense, especially if you have somebody else besides Steven Adams on the court that is an offensive liability, as we saw even when playing Dillon Brooks. Replacing Dillon Brooks in the offense with Zach Lavine will give us a legitimate threat who will become our second best offensive player off a rip. Now, it'll probably go from a night-to-night basis. Is it going to be him or Desmond Bane who's going to be the second best offensive player on the team? And sometimes either one of them could be the best offensive player on the team. Now, we know Ja Morant is the most talented, but these guys are very capable in their own rights, not to mention even Jaren Jackson Jr. and to a smaller extent, Luke Kennard. But giving the Grizzlies all that firepower, combined with Jaren Jackson Jr.'s defense in the middle and Steven Adams rebounding to give them extra possessions, this should push the Grizzlies into an upper echelon offensive team, especially half-court offensive team, which is where the problem lies. Because in the regular season, they can fake the funk with getting out in transition and stuff like that, especially when they have Steven Adams on the team, getting them rebounding and clearing defensive possessions. But during the playoffs, as we saw, the Grizzlies struggled to make shots, and they struggled to even get open shots. Teams were able to put their best defender on Ja Morant and kind of stifle everybody else. Now, just by adding Zach Lavine alone, you're going to have Zach Lavine, instead of facing the other team's best defender like he's always done his whole time in Chicago, he is going to get their second, maybe even their third best defender. And all I can say is good luck with that to the defense. Desmond Bane will also benefit from the spacing, and you'll always have a four-man rotation of Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Zach Lavine, and Luke Kennard to always have at least two offensive players on the court, on the perimeter at all times. And this is not even counting the development of some of our young guys like Jake LaRavia, David Roddy, Zaire Williams, and to another extent, Kenny Lofton Jr. So we have that to go against. Now, the thing that people are going to harp on is Zach Lavine's defense. But we saw that during international play, when he had less on his plate and something important to play for, his defense was more than passable for any perimeter player. Now, he's not going to be a lockdown defensive player like Dillon Brooks was. That is not what we needed. As we just saw in the last NBA Finals, the Denver Nuggets had one lockdown defender, and that was Aaron Gordon. The Grizzlies have the Defensive Player of the Year. The other guys just have to give effort and be passable, and Zach Lavine can do that. Now, when you see his contract, you're going to see the numbers, and the numbers are going to give you sticker shock, and you might even say Zach Lavine is not worth it. But the way I look at it is like this. Ja Morant did not get his designated max contract due to not making the All-NBA team. That's about $6 million saved per season. Jaren Jackson is criminally underpaid. He is a max-level player that's getting paid about less than $30 million a season. So his pay is probably about another $6 to $7 million underpaid also. So that gives you about $10 to $13 million a season that you have in leeway where you should be paying for the talent that you have. And this gives the Grizzlies an ability to overpay an exemplary talent like Zach Lavine to boost this team up to the next level. And that next level is out of the second round and into the conference finals. So let me know, what do you think about the Grizzlies going after Zach Lavine this summer in trade talks? And what kind of package do you think the Grizzlies should offer for Zach Lavine? At the end of this video, I'm going to show you the trade package I would offer for Zach Lavine to come to Memphis this offseason. Peace.